All right, so I'm going to start it. All right, so Scrum and Wine, welcome to Scrum and Wine. Today is March 10th, 2021. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned for all of you, and I know some people will be joining as they can get in, so we'll welcome them. I've got a few what I'm going to call small bites, so I'm going to go ahead and share myself. So small bites, some sharing I want to do here. Let's go do that. So I got a few shares for you. So again, Scrum and Wine, we run it monthly. For those of you that are new, we've been doing it virtually for a year, like everybody else in the world. And hopefully we can get back in person a little bit too and mix that in. Our typical locations have been threefold, 2 in Southern California and 1 in Sacramento. Based on where a lot of the team are, we tend to host it in multiple California locations. Let's take a look at some of the small bites I've got here to share. So first one I have is I'm really proud to announce that my Scrum Adventures internship team, my Sprinterns as they like to call themselves, have launched our Scrum Adventures Toolbox as an app. It is free, so please download it. And we, Scrum Adventures, are donating $1 to the National Eating Disorder Association for every download in the month of March. So please share that out with others, have them download it. I won't go through a lot of it, but you can see the image here. It has 2 types of estimating. So for those of you that do estimating, we've got t-shirt estimating and the Fibonacci cards in there. You estimate with your team, you all hold your phones up and it has a reveal and you can all estimate together. So it's got those 2 in there. We also added a stoplight voting. So you can do a red, yellow, green light voting. You know, green means we're all enthused about whatever we're voting on. Red means we got to stop there. And we can have a yellow, I want to discuss it more, or I've got some hesitation. So we got that voting. And we added a new thing that I haven't seen others have, which is a capacity calculator. And this is part of trying to determine your team capacity to ultimately figure out what velocity the team might be able to pull into their sprint. So we added the capacity calculator, which can help you figure out that portion of it. So some cool tools, and we got more to add there. So really appreciate if you guys would download that and shout that out and help us reach 1,000 downloads, because I would be more than happy to make that donation. So check that out. All right, my next share, another share for you guys, another small bite share. We also have launched 8 of our 9 Kadomi programs. Kadomi is our Agile transformation ecosystem. And it consists of tools, programs, certifications, games to help an organization manage through a transformation. And so we have a bunch of programs in there, and 8 of them are now free for download. So you can get those directly off kadomi.co, go to programs, and you can download all of those. They have a presentation, a how-to. Some of them have tools you can use, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint to guide you through on how to do some of these. And any questions you guys have, of course, reach out to me or my team, and we can help you on these programs and how to use them or guide your organization. Next small bite share I have is we are hosting a Scrum Developer course upcoming. This is guaranteed to run. We already have registered students. So if any of you are looking to obtain what it's like to be on the developer side of a Scrum team, this is the right course for you. And if you're part of a developer team, it's definitely the right course for you. But if you're a Scrum Master and you really want to know, we'd love to have you there also. We do some development in the course, but you don't need a deep development knowledge. You'll get paired up. But really cool course. I host that with Ivan. Ivan and I co-train it for those of you that met him before. And we have spread this course out to appreciate people's schedule. We do it on 4 days. And basically we do 4 5-hour sessions. We do it on a Friday night and a Saturday morning, and then the following week on a Friday night and a Saturday morning. So we set it up. We found this kind of been a sweet spot, not to impact people's schedules. So hopefully you guys can join that or share that out too. And I got one more share. Our next Scrum and Wine, I know we haven't had this one yet, but our next one upcoming, I'm proud to host Ruchika Sagar. Ruchika is one of our cohorts in my coaching group, and she recently became a certified team coach. So real big shout out to her. And she will be hosting Agile Games in April. So she's got a lot of small, fast-paced games that you guys can do. So we'll learn a lot of new games and tricks. So If you want to register for that, that will be awesome. And let's turn it to tonight. So tonight we've got Huy Nguyen coming up here. So Huy has been a good friend of mine and part of my coaching cohort and my coaching journey, and I'm proud to have him this evening. Huy is a spirited agilist. He's been in the tech industry for over 20 years, and he's in search to help organizations and individuals experience a deeper sense of agility and synergy. He's currently a principal agile coach and trainer at Bank of the West up in the Bay Area. And he coaches the team enterprise level, emphasizing group facilitation, professional coaching, leadership embodiment, and design thinking. He's an active member of the Bay Area Leadership Network and co-founder of the online peer mentoring and coaching group within the Bay ALN. And he holds multiple Agile certifications and is currently working on his CTC, Certified Team Coach certification also. So with that, let me welcome Huy, and I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hi, thanks for having me, everybody. This is my first Scrum and Wine. I've heard only good things about this, and really excited to be not only finally here, but also to present some crazy ideas to you. If everybody hearing me fine? No problem, right? Okay, very good. Good to see some familiar faces in here too. Okie dokie. So let me go ahead and send out this. I'm gonna do everything through Mural tonight, and let me share the link out to you. Admit a few people in.
I can take care of that now. I can do the
Okay,
admits.
very good. Yeah. There is the link in the chat. Feel free for the first little bit. Feel free. I'm just gonna share my screen for the first couple of slides. Otherwise, you can just hang out in the Zoom and I'm not going to try and do any screen shares unless somebody is not able to go through Zoom. I've had issues with somebody getting to Mural. So if you have problems with Mural, let me know. We'll figure out or let Sherman know, and one of us will help you with that. Okay. All righty. So let me share my screen. Okay, what are we talking about today? Today, I'm going to introduce you to something I learned a couple of years ago called integral theory and how to do rapid agile assessments. What the heck does that mean? I'm assuming just kind of like in the chat, if you don't mind, just go ahead and just so I know this audience, what happened to the chat for me? Just shout out what's your role. Are you Scrum Master? Are you an Agile coach? Are you in between? Your program manager? Are you aspiring one of these roles? That's totally cool too. Just throw it in the chat so I get a sense for who you are and just as a group. Wow, big titles, love it. All right. A lot of Agilists, my kind of people, you're my tribe. Okay, very good. Keep typing in there if you haven't already. I'll take a peek at it in a moment. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little icebreaker. And it's a good thing that I'm a co-host because then now I can put you into a breakout room. So we're gonna do something that I spent a little time doing comedy improv. So we're gonna do one of the comedy improv exercises. So what you're going to do is you're going to introduce each other or maybe do a check-in amongst each other. I'm going to break you, let's see, we've got 17 people, so I'm going to break it into 4 rooms. I'll give you, let's do 6 minutes for this. And so you get about 1.5 minutes per person, right? And what you want to do is you want to start your first sentence with the last letter of the last letter of the previous person's last word. So if I said like, let's say, why don't you go first, Sherman, and just kind of do a quick check-in as a demonstration. So go ahead, just say like, what's your weather today? How's it going? How are you doing today?
The weather's been rainy and cloudy.
So his last word was cloudy. So my first sentence, yes, it's been cloudy, hasn't it? So his last word was cloudy. So it was Y was his last letter. So I'm going to start my first check-in based on his last letter. Got it? Any questions? All right. So let's just kind of give this a whirl, and I'm going to do the breakout room. I'm going to stop. I think I have to stop sharing. Oh no, here it is. So I'm going to create four breakout rooms, and I'll give you 6 minutes. Off you go. See you in a bit. I'm just going to assign these new folks to.
Yeah, you did it manually.
Room.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it manually.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, monitoring participants. Yeah, you got a couple left here. Kathy and Ray. Yep.
Yeah, I put him into room 2 and room 4. I think it's okay.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. Oh, I got to keep on a timer. So 6, let me put a timer up.
Yeah, if you didn't do it with the breakout, then
no, it's all good.
do a manual.
I do it with the new window. Let's do a 5-minute, 15-second timer. No, not 10. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Outside this scenario, awesome.
Yeah, I was the first time I'm like, oh shit, what do we do?
I just ended the session.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just
That's
killed
okay.
it.
That's okay. Yeah, it's like I know you can boot people, but I'm like, I'm not host. I can't help you out. Yeah.
Right, and that took and that would have taken too long, and of course doesn't mean they want to come back. So.
All right, we're all good. I think everybody met. There was one woman that was it Kathy? Yeah, she made it in. I emailed her.
Okay.
I sent her the link. So I'm just checking the meetup, making sure we didn't miss somebody.
Okay, good. Yeah, some of the
You
link.
can relax. It's been a crazy day. Kathy's third event. I don't see her in here. You want to see if you can get her on.
I don't.
Krishna Chatterjee.
Nobody's waiting. Yeah.
Krishna Chatterjee didn't get back in. Not Chatterjee. Krishna Chatan.
Oh, on the actual event.
On the event,
okay.
yeah. Can you see if you can get to them?
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Thanks.
No worries. Gonna need a second glass of wine today.
Okay, I just sent it to Kathy.
Okay, very good.
As Krishna rejoined, did you notice in the Zoom breakouts?
Looking. No, I didn't see the. Excuse me. I didn't see the rejoin. I'll give him an extra minute since I accidentally put 5 people in one room.
Yeah, I'm sure this is we have about half people showed up because of this.
Maybe. I don't know.
We had 80
But I mean,
people.
you sent the email. I mean, you said. I mean, God. I mean.
Yeah, a lot of people don't check their email though. They're like, I can't get in, and then they give up.
You know, I'm like, every time I do my peer coaching thing, like I get like 40 signups and 5 people show. So sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 12. I just never know. You know. Can never tell. All right. So I should be aiming to be done around like 7:20ish, 7:15. Is that kind of approximate?
Whatever works for you. We have no time constraint, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. We just do open space afterward.
Oh,
We have a little treasure hunt that they do afterward, and then some open space time.
Good. Hi, David. Hi, Charles.
Hi. I'm trying to get a friend of mine into the current link right now. So I gotta.
Do you need the link?
Okay.
You could send her an email. I suppose probably the fastest thing, but she tried to get in, and of course the link had dumped.
Right. Yeah, we had to change it.
Her name is Nella, Nella.
And I'm on it. Hold on. Give me one moment.
Can you put her?
All right.
I don't know if you want to put her email.
Oh yeah, I got it. Nella, Nella.
Yeah, N is in Nancy, ELLA dot Juma, JUMA at zigzy.com.
How do you spell Zigzy?
ZIGZY.
Okay, I'm gonna close all the rooms
Yeah.
now.
Great. I sent her an email. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming back in. Stop the share. Make sure I have the chat up. Welcome back, everybody. Just waiting for a few more folks, I think. I will put for those that have just joined a moment ago, let me put the mural link back on the chat so you can see it. Chat, it's been a long day. I'm like getting my applications confused. Hi, welcome back.
Welcome, welcome.
What did you think of the exercise? Did you guys have fun? What was, I see some nodding heads. What was tricky about it?
Well, I think once we got a rotation going, it was who's going to go next, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Right. That's a really good point. Normally, I should have passed the ball. Because normally when I do this in person, I just tell you just pass the ball to like point to somebody. But we're in Zoom, so. Yeah, so it's a fun little icebreaker, get you kind of thinking. I know it was a long day for me, so hopefully that was fun to kind of break the rut a little bit. Okay, so if everybody can join me on the mural, I'm gonna summon everybody to me, or I'm gonna ask you to follow me, and so I'm just gonna take you through some of my slides and what this material, what the heck am I talking about? Okay. So my name is Huy Nguyen. Huy Nguyen for short, with the is the easy way to pronounce my name. With a name like that, you can't lose. You want him on your team. That's my catchphrase. Always get garners a snicker somewhere. Come on, thank you. So I have been in tech for a long time. I have a lot of different passions. I'm a jazz bassist. Before COVID, a little bit. I'm trying to get back into it a little bit now. I'm a fan of all sorts of other activities, and and sports and things like that. And for me, a lot of the work that I do as an Agile coach is like a nexus of like a lot of the magic I'm able to, the fun part of bringing all these things back in and working with people and working with teams. So I like to help people find their upward spirals. You know, what is it that we can do to get us thinking and be curious about the world in, you know, that helps us be more resourced, be more, have more available to us and think deeper, right? Be more present here. So I find that Agile coaching, Agile itself is a calling for me. I love doing it. Some days it's very hard. And on the same day, it could be very easy at the same time. It's such a strange journey, but ultimately really exciting. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. So what am I showing today is something called, there's a challenge that I've had to deal with ever since I started with the bank. So in this particular, my situation, thank God it's no longer like that. But for the first couple of years, we used to work on a chargeback system. I'm an internal coach. And so what would happen, what that means is I'm like an internal consultant. So I have to bill hours out to other projects and other teams for my time, you know. And so what this means is I have to, you know, if I have to go and do an assessment and kind of coach on the side to somebody, it kind of takes my time away from it. So a lot of times they're so busy that they don't have time to kind of like get coached or for me to dig through. So like a lot of times at worst, it's generally like even like at 15 minutes, I have to figure out as an Agile coach, I have to assess what is it they need, what is it they want, how could I best serve them as an Agile coach? Do they need this Scrum framework? Do they need these practices? Do they need training? Do they need support? Do they just need counseling? You know? So how do I find out what they need very quickly? So try to put some things together. And I found that I could do this after a while with practice. Now, 15 minutes is pretty aggressive. I mean, if you go to anybody else, generally they'll say like, oh, do you have an hour? Can I talk to you? Can you fill out the survey? That's like 20 questions, right? Sound familiar to some of you, right? Especially you coaches out there. So that is the challenge. That's the gauntlet I'm throwing down. And a lot of times the situation I'm in, it's not about trying to figure out their maturity. I'm just trying to figure out like, what's the one thing, Pareto principle style, that'll help them really move forward and build some momentum, right? I got to identify that really fast. Okay. So, you know, there's this guy named Ken Wilbur. Anybody heard of integral theory? Can I get a show of hands? Anybody heard of it? So he came up with this idea. I consider him like this like modern day ascetic that kind of like is meditated on all sorts of different things and has basically come up with this thing called the theory of everything. He has that book. It's called and he created something called integral theory. And it's a way to in a nutshell, for me, it's something ultimately really simple, but actually somebody created a sticky there now to unlock it. Why can't I unlock it? So you're gonna have to see past it. If you have the slides, you can see it. Whoever created that sticky, please delete it. Or I can delete it now. Thank you. So basically, so let me explain what integral quadrants are. So it's based on a holon. A holon meaning a perspective. It's just that's what it means, right? So I have a particular perspective, and in that perspective, he's saying that I can see things with 4 other lenses with that given perspective. So the easiest way I think is to think about it from left to right first. So on the left-hand side, you have the subjective side. It means us as a group or a team or me as an individual. And then on the right-hand side, yeah, visiting fish, if you can please move your stickies aside, please. Thank you. So on the right-hand side are like basically intersubjective. These are the interrelationships between things. Okay, so on the upper left, you have the I quadrant. This describes like me in my family, for instance, right? Me as an individual, or I'm a team member of my Scrum team. We is a quadrant in the sense of a group, a plural of I's, meaning many of us, and we have our own little culture, our own little practices, our subjective experience that is different than just the individuals, okay? And then on the right-hand side, more importantly, is you have it. So that is the quadrant where you have governing principles. So like, for instance, we all live in, we have to all abide by laws of physics. We abide by, like, for instance, in a team, governing principles might be our nervous systems, the neuroscience that we understand, maybe rules, maybe practices and skills, like Agile would go into it, Scrum would go into it, right? And then the it's quadrant is the environment that all these things live in, right? So it's the plural of it. And so that's the easiest way for me to think about it. It's sort of like, okay, this is the container. So that contains everything else, okay? And so let me give you an example and I'll take questions. So if you follow me to the next slide, so here's a bunch of examples. So I have, for instance, a single mind lives inside a body, and the body lives inside its environment. It could be a family, it could be a room, it could be anything like that. And there's biology, that's the governing principles. And you begin to see, so like in a city is the I quadrant. So the city is the singular unit. It lives in a particular state that might be contained in the country. And maybe it has like local and state and federal governments that are governing principles. So you begin to see these kind of interrelationships a little bit. But wait, there's more. The other side is, if you go back to the first slide, you see the black circles I drew on here? Everybody see that? So the idea is that if you're familiar like with Frederick Laloux and that kind of things, like how do you break from one level of development into the next? The idea is that Ken says that you have to be balanced in every quadrant, right? And once you have balance in every quadrant, you can break through that plateau and go to the next one, and go to the next one, and go to the next one. But the caveat is that in every quadrant, you grow in every quadrant, but in every quadrant, the growth is nonlinear. You could go around and, you could go around, it could be circular, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 5 steps forward, 4 steps back, it could be something like that, right? But the idea is, in general, the theory is that you have to have balance with all those quadrants, and then you break into the next level of consciousness, so to speak. Questions? Does that make sense? It's kind of a trippy way to think of things, and we're gonna practice this. So that's what we're gonna try tonight. Any questions? All right.
I have one. The upper right corner, is that more of the governing, you said? Is that the governing metric that governs those? Or
It's like the governing principles. It's the rules by which everything operates in a particular paradigm, right? So it could be skills and tools. It could be, so like think about an agile tool, like a Scrum team, right? You have a team member, a dev is the I. The Scrum team is the we quadrant. It works inside of a department or a company. And then the governing principles it has is probably like project management, Scrum, Agile, software, the software they use, the CI/CD tools, like all these like hard things that are disparate and maybe like technical, so to speak. And you can treat them as single subject kind of things. Make sense?
Yep, thanks.
Okay. All right. So follow me over to the example. So that's not all. The idea is that here's a holarchy. So you've heard of holarchy before. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
We win. That's how you say your name, right? We win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody's having difficulty with Zoom and Mural. Is there any way you could just share your screen?
Sure, I'll share. No
I mean, I finally caught on, being a little dumb, but like you said, people have had rough days and
I hear you. I hear you.
This is wonderful. Great.
Okay, so here's an example holarchy. So what do I mean by holarchy? Holarchy is when, so feel free to go by the Zoom or go on your own, right? So the holarchy is a hierarchy of holon, so that you can structure them into a hierarchy, and then you can zoom in and out at every level. So what I did was here is sort of like, let's take it like this is like the Scrum example I just gave, right? I have an individual that lives in a team. The team lives in a corporate culture. And there's skills, practices, technology, right? Jira, Jira, Confluence, Scrum, XP, all that good stuff. And for any of these boxes in any of these quadrants, you can zoom in or out of those things. So like, for instance, I can zoom in at the team level. And at the team, if I zoom out, the team lives within the company lives within the company culture. Or maybe, yeah, it lives in a company, or maybe it's like, I could probably easily replace that with like, maybe there's plural companies and the companies live in an industry, for instance, right? And then there's, then you have dependencies, org charts, budgets. Those are the governing principles of how that whole on interacts. Then I can zoom at the company level, out one more level. And then I could see the company lives inside an industry lives in a particular sector or sectors, or maybe like international region or something like that. And then there's governing principles there. And then similarly, you can see like culture, on and on and on. And I can zoom the other way too, right? Because I can say my brain sits at, like the example I said earlier, that my brain sits inside my body. My body, lives in a particular environment. I can take my brain and say, maybe that's the container. Then I can talk about like the individual parts of my brain, or I can go down to the cellular level. So this is what he means by a theory of everything, because it's kind of like a very simple lens, almost literally, to view the world. But you can take it and zoom it out and give yourself a more holistic perspective at every level if you want, and begin to see how things are interconnected. All right. Was that, how was that? Make sense, right? That's the concept, right? I know it's a long day. Just bear with me. Now we're going to have some fun with it. Okay, any questions? And just interrupt me if you have a question or something like that. So what I want you to do now, so we're going to go into a little bit of an exercise. So think about this. Go back to my original question. If I were to assess a team back over here, the challenge of assessing a team, like, okay, how are they doing? How mature are they? What do they need? As a group, I would say, just let's silent write this for a moment. I'll give you 2 minutes, and maybe we'll do a little bit of, I'll give you 3 minutes, and go ahead and create stickies on the mural in those quadrants. Like, so think about it on your own, just kind of like, what questions would you ask about these things? So I already gave you let me pause the timer real quick. Let me pause the timer. So let me talk about this game in particular, right? So for each quadrant, I've already labeled it for you, right? So what questions would you ask about the team members individually, or like the team mindset, or the individual's mindset, sorry. Then there's questions about the team itself, like how are they interacting? What particular specific questions would you ask about that team? Things about how they do their Scrum or how they do their Agile, those questions go there. Then company culture, like, so the culture that the team exists in, what questions would that, what are the underlying other factors that maybe they are interfacing with stakeholders or something like that. And then questions about what skills, practices, software systems, hardware systems would you ask there? Okay, so I'm going to resume the timer and have at it. Just kind of like, just brainstorm on your own for a moment and just come up with a bunch of questions. We're just looking for questions. Okay. And feel free to ask me questions as you're doing this. And yeah, we're just kind of group think this. And this is like it's like totally open sky. Like you can ask anything you want. And it's just a matter of like trying to put it in the right category in essence, I'm just giving you dimensions in which to think about, like on those particular dimensions. Oh yeah, and some of it might actually overlap. Like you might have questions that overlap 2 sectors, or maybe even all 4. I've had that before too. So just smack it in the middle if that's the case. If it overlaps between 2, just put it on the line, basically. It's not about being perfect here. Oh, I'm loving some of these questions. Does anybody need more time? Timer's up. Okay, rather than me going through and reading this like we typically do, right? So go ahead and finish as you're wrapping up. I'll just start yakking again. So what I did here is, if you notice that at the bottom, I put a whole bunch of like icons. Feel free, if you like, go ahead and like on your own right now. So just kind of narrow down some of these. Go read through all the questions and other stuff people write. So take a look at it. If you like it and you think it's a great idea, go ahead and drag one of those icons over there and just say like, yeah, that's a thumbs up. You really like that, right? So just take a look at there. So there's thumbs ups, like there's a light bulb. We can just say like, maybe that's genius, you know. I should put some fire in here, like that question is fire. And then question marks for those that maybe like, that's interesting. Like maybe we want to talk about that a little bit more. So go ahead and spend a moment. I'm gonna give you I'll give you another 3 minutes to just kind of go through all those questions that are there. And if you happen to be inspired to even to come up with, if you're inspired and you get inspired to write more questions, just write them, just add them, no big deal. Other people will see it and they'll put icons on it too. As many as you want. There's no limit. It's not like that voting. I just want to try this a little bit different. Like you could, I suppose you could even take more than 1 thumbs up on on any of these two. It's just something to try a little bit differently and see how this works. Since there's an open space after this, I'm happy to field questions on this or anything else, like how other ways I might apply this. I use this in many different ways, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And as always, just shout out if you have questions. You feel free to interrupt me. It's no big deal. Yeah, you want to, yeah. Okay. All right, 40-second warning. There's some juicy stuff in here. All right, time's up. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna kind of let's have a little bit of a discussion here. So feel free to unmute yourself and just jump in. Like there's no like or raise your hand. I'll try to call on you, basically. So I'm gonna pick out some of the ones that got more attention than some of the others, and maybe pick out some interesting ones. What problem are you trying to solve? Oh my God, that is the most important question ever, right? I mean, that's the question I always start off with. A lot of people like you don't know how many times I've did these type of internal assessments. I said like, hey, what kind of problem are you trying to solve? And they're like, I don't know. We're still figuring it out. Or maybe they say like, oh, I kind of know what the problem is, but then you dig and like, wait, you don't really understand your problem, do you? Right. So that's a key meaty question right there. So bravo. What would your peers say you are good at? What do people think about that one? Kind of like I would use that probably
The team.
Yeah, like when I'm interviewing the team, right? Definitely. I'm like, how do you think you are received? Especially somebody who thinks they're really hot, or somebody who on the opposite end is like really shy, right? That's it. That's a good one. What is your knowledge of Agile, Scrum, Kanban? And it's right there in the middle line. Perfect, right? It's both. Do you need training? Do you not need training? What tools do you need? What practices are you familiar with? Very good. Do you have defined roles on the team? Yes. Or rather, that is kind of oriented, I would say, the way that was written is probably more on the level of at the team level, but then they says, do you understand your role? If it was talking to an individual, do the team members understand their roles, right? So variations of the same thing. So that's a really great one. Moving down here, what time zones do you cover? Oh my God. Yeah. Who has run into the time zone issue?
Me.
Every day.
Every day.
And given COVID, we're probably all going to run to it really quick if you haven't already, right? How many team members? Right. They said like, oh, my team's only 2 people. Or they say my team's like 13, 16, 20, Key question. Do you have specific leadership principle? Moving over the culture. What do your company stand for? Yeah, what's your value purpose, especially if you're an external coach? Are there any regulations? Oh my God, you're killing me. I work at a bank. Right? Hell yeah, there's regulations. And so, or, what market conditions are you facing? That's another really great question. Who are your competitors? Things like that. And I'm going to move over to the upper right. What skills are needed? What not? Right. What tools do the teams need? Where are the experts at? So that definitely the skills question goes there. What tools do you have available? Perfect. What tools are you missing? Very great. Hey, so what do you think about this so far? These questions, just the process of coming up with questions. Any insights? What do you think? What are y'all thinking?
Yeah, this is an interesting framework on which to come up with the sort of questions that you need to ask. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you were, think about it, and we'll talk about how to apply this in other domains. If you were talking to a senior leader, like an executive or something like that, you can still use the same framework, but you have to zoom out a little bit, right? What are your departments doing? How are you doing your portfolio management? What's your business strategy? What's your corporate vision? Those kind of questions. So it starts to kind of like, I see those minds starting to kind of grind a little bit, and I know it's late in the day, but I hope you have like your beer or your glass of wine or something to help you out with that. But it starts to kind of open the doors and helps you with some of the curiosity. So what I'm going to do now, if you are okay with it, I want to put you back in the breakout room and give you maybe 10 minutes. And what I would like you to do is, so we're going to do a practice assessment. And I know here I said I find a partner. I think one person's a little bit too hard. It's late in the day. Let's take it easy on ourselves. So if I'll do the same breakout rooms of 4 people, if one person could volunteer, and think of it as I run a peer mentoring, a peer coaching group with Bay ALN, and I love this whole idea of, I'm a big fan of mob coaching. So what we're really going to do is, if you have a group of 3 or 4, one person will be the client and the other 2 get to do the assessment and ask questions of like, try to size up their teams as to how they should grow next or what is it they need. Does that make sense? So we're gonna kind of mock coach each other in a way, if that's okay. So, and obviously we're going to invoke like psychological safety. Anything that says here will remain here, and the breakout rooms don't get recorded, so don't worry about that. Okay, so I think I have everybody pretty much evenly distributed. I had to move Ray into another group. Sorry, Ray, because I made the mistake of putting you into another room of with a total of 5 people. So I balanced it out a little bit. So I'm going to put you back in, and I'll give you 10 minutes to do this interview. Use the questions that everybody else came up with, or maybe make up your own. But think of it as taking this integral theory hat and putting it on, and kind of like talk about it, like, and ask questions to see if you can understand. And within, I'm not even giving you 15 minutes right now, but I'm giving you 10. I gotta lay down the challenge even further. In 10 minutes to see how much you can dig up, and whether your clients feel like their needs were understood, and maybe they have an idea of what they need to do next. Okay, any questions? Is that clear?
Mhm.
All right, so let me kick off the rooms, and we'll see you in 10. Feel free to join room 3 if you'd like, Sherman, if you want to play along too.
Thanks. And you got one person unassigned, Nella?
Oh yeah, I'll assign her to 3, and then you can hang out here or join any of the rooms at that point.
Yeah, I'll hang out here. I've been mostly trying to manage the event and communications with people, so I'll just hang here.
Okay.
You know, one person joined and I wasn't sure they were legit, so I didn't let them in.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Couldn't tell. Yeah.
Oh, let me stop sharing.
Okay. Yeah, it's better when you share your mural, your presentation. Yeah. I'm glad that was brought up. That was better. It also gets recorded that way. Otherwise, we're not recording what you're sharing. True. Yeah, so that's a good learning.
For both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, you don't want to join the other group? Or maybe she's in dial-in.
No, I don't have anybody.
She's in.
Oh, Kathy. Yeah, Kathy Marks has not joined. You're right. Kathy, you here?
You're muted if you are.
Yeah, she must have stepped away.
Mm. Oh, I forgot to do my timer. How long will it be in that? At that?
Oh, you didn't use
I'll
a
give him
timer
9
in the-
minutes. I'll give him 9 minutes. I forgot to start the timer. I always forget to
Okay.
start the timer.
Yeah, you can do a timer on the breakout rooms too.
Oh, you can?
In Zoom, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can do that next time. Yeah, there's a feature when you start them. That's you click options
Oh,
and you can
okay.
see how long you want the
Can
breakouts to
can
go.
you
in.
do it retroactively? Did you
No.
do it? Oh, you can't. Okay.
I know
That's dumb.
that's a feature they need to add, but that's not there.
Yeah.
We have your slides available once we get people on Trello.
Yeah,
After.
I realized that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a screen dump, and you can email it to of the mural.
Yeah, export as a
Yeah,
PNG. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can email it to it because there's questions they like, and it's all anonymized, so nobody will know.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then that way, because I realized some of the diagrams I have are not in the slides, but that's okay.
Mhm.
You know,
There's
can't
also
give everything away.
there's also a feature in Mural you can use when you summon people to follow you. You can lock it,
Mhm.
so they can't edit or do anything but follow you. That way they don't add post-its. So when you have them follow you, you can yeah, you can add that feature. So if you see that,
I'll look for it.
yeah, I since I'm on your board as a guest, I can't see it, but on my Mural, that's a feature that I have. Are you using a paid version?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you have it.
Yeah, my own.
Yeah, I have it too. I use it a lot. Yeah, that was so frustrating that happened.
Yeah, it's all good. I think we still got like 20 people, right?
Okay.
18 in total.
Yeah, we had 20 at one point.
Yeah, so we got everybody back. We'll end right on time, I think. Like pretty much right on course.
Okay. Yeah, the person I didn't let in was asking me why I didn't let him in. They gave me another email. Well, the name was suspicious to me, and it didn't match up with a name in Scrum and Wine because they just went by Frank D. They just did an initial, so I wasn't able to match it up.
Are you gonna make it to CTC on Saturday?
What do I got? I think I'm teaching a class.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, what do I got Saturday? Yeah, I'm teaching a class from 10 till, it's a short one, just 10 to 1. Yeah, I missed last week's too. I had my sister actually came in town, which was really cool.
That's nice.
I haven't seen her in a year. She lives in Chicago, but she got her vaccination, so they decided to travel and see family. So that was cool.
One of my coworkers is flying to India.
Wow.
We're like, ooh, that's kind of risky, but I
Right.
didn't want to pry, but I'm hoping it's not a family issue, you know.
Yeah, I'm still concerned if this person rejoins. Their name is just, I mean, their name is Frank Denier. I mean, that name just does not sound legit. Sorry.
Well, you keep them out and to say like, sorry, just go watch a video.
I know they're not. Yeah, they're not in any other meetup groups either. So I don't know. It just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know anything about them. So I think if they rejoin, I'm just sorry.
Sorry, bro.
Next time.
All right, closing the rooms.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm not sharing.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yes, we done.
How was it? What'd you think? Did anybody get to the end? Did they figure it out?
That's the tough part. We didn't figure out anything, but there were questions and answers.
Wait,
what
were we supposed to figure something out?
Well, just kind of like figure out like the maturity or like where that the client is, right? Did you, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how far do you think you got?
Oh, that I think.
In 5 minutes?
In terms of the maturity or in terms of how far we got down that path?
How far you got down that path to try to get close to figuring it out?
I don't know. I thought it was fairly obvious that the company is pretty immature. If you were giving one, from 1 to 10 in terms of maturity, I would put them about a 2 or a 3.
Right. That's only 10 minutes. That's pretty good. And what was the recommendation you would have made? If you were to guess right now.
I would recommend that they start looking into agile principles instead of using waterfall.
Yeah. Sometimes it's that simple, right? To reveal that to them. It is sometimes that simple. That reminds me, there's an email I need to respond to. That was exactly that. Anybody else? What did you think? What did you think of the coaching and using the questions?
Well, the questions were very much like any consulting session. You're trying to establish where your customer is so that you can figure out what are the next best steps to go, and you start going down each little rabbit hole. In our group, one of the questions that was asked is how well are they understanding Agile, in Scrum?
Right.
And my question was, in addition to that, was do they understand the why of each of those tools, rather than just let's learn the mechanics and do Agile?
Yeah.
How do we understand why we're doing this so we can be Agile?
Right. Did it help using the questions in the quadrants in that way, in asking those questions? Maybe it did. I don't know. This is just an idea.
I think it might have if the time was longer.
Right. Okay.
I think it was helpful because sometimes when I took it more of answering the questions and taking like my experiences. So for example, if I'm answering the question about what problem are you trying to solve, it ended up being not so much of an I quadrant problem. Our facilitator realized that this is actually something that may be more involved in governance, or this might even be a team situation. So it kind of helps you have perspective. And if you're working with a team to do this, they understand that this isn't just one person's view, and this is something that's the root cause of this problem isn't what they thought it was at all.
Right. Yeah, I reflecting, I think that's a brilliant observation, because in a way, I think a lot of times when I see my colleagues like go into an assessment, they focus on like the practices, they focus on the it quadrant, and they don't pay attention to any of the other stuff. And then there's a certain sense of bias, like cognitive bias that occurs, right? That can lead you astray, and then you forget that, hey, wait a minute, I don't even have psychological safety, right? These practices is not going to matter, or it's going to be, suboptimal. Let's put it that way, right? How about a few more people? Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Susie. I look at things holistically in a lot of ways, because I have to look at organizations, and I've done everything from looking at a large scale, but then drilling down into the team. In the group we were in, we certainly found there was a real need for education, but limited budget to make that happen.
Yeah.
and some larger systemic challenges within the organization that are affecting the team and their ability to function well as a team, but deliver value to whoever it is they're delivering value to. In this case, it was a university, so they're delivering value to students, which are customers too. But seeing that, especially if there's not the right budget, if there's not some type of leadership buy-in to say, we're going to go for this. And I often talk to organizations about really understanding if they're going to take on Agile or Scrum or Kanban as a unit, as an organization, what really that means. Get behind the why. Goes back to that question. I'm the one that put on the question, what problem are you trying to solve? And I frequently am asking that. We're at many levels of an organization, and that's such a powerful question. I even coach teams and individuals to say, when you get to a point in a conversation, you're trying to work through something as a team and you're stuck, just stop and ask yourself that question. What problem are you trying to solve? And see what happens. See what comes out of that in the team conversation.
Yeah, that is gold. I mean, that budgeting question, like a lot of us coaches will jump in and like, hey, are you doing this, that, and the other thing? And the moment that you talk about CapEx and OpEx, everything comes to a straight screeching halt, right? Versus like, had you gone in from the beginning and asked that, like, okay, where are you with this? What's your maturity in that level, in the it's quadrant or in the it quadrant on that right-hand side? That could save you a ton of grief, even if you kind of like, even if it's a problem that you accept, at least you're aware of it, right?
Yeah, I also talk to organizations and I talk to teams, all different levels, about some lean principles, because there's so many pieces of lean that are embedded in this, and we see it is, and it came out in our breakout of when the teams don't have the knowledge or don't have the tools they need, or they're not organized correctly, you're creating waste. And that waste is going to be passed on, and you're missing out delivering value. You got to deal with the waste. And waste is not just wasting money. It can be time. It could be all kinds of things can show up as waste.
Right. Exactly. So like from a lean perspective, imagine now that you have this is now the lens that you're looking the world through. And imagine going into and doing a Gemba walk. You go down to the floor and you look at how the teams are working, like especially if anybody's working like a dojo style or any team that just any team you're visiting, right? And you have this lens and you ask yourself a question in every quadrant. What's the team mindset? What's the team culture? How they deal with budget? How they deal with the process? What practices are they doing? How are they interacting with the stakeholders? Stakeholders is an it's quadrant, right? So immediately, just like you can just shotgun it and just say like, you begin to build a sense of everything, and then you can zero in on the quadrant that's weak, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So that's how I use it to assess, because I just, in a way, I just prod in every quadrant until I hit something, right? So I might hit like the practices are weak. Okay, let's dig a little bit further there. Or maybe I don't understand it. I need to ask a little bit more and I find that it's solid. Okay, I'll move to another quadrant. So it's a way to kind of begin to sense make in a very broad way and begin to help you zero down. I hope some of you experience a little bit of that during the practice coaching session. Right? That's totally awesome there, Susie. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Anybody else? One more person?
This is Bobby here. Question is, from a company standpoint or a stakeholder standpoint, we always try to understand the end result for this entire exercise of following the Scrum or any methodology that we follow. The end goal is basically that they want the readiness to market or definition of done. So I understand that it'll fall into its or the company culture, but my question here is, how would anybody, like say a team member and mindset are fixed things, the team is fixed, the skills and practice systems are fixed, but the company culture, the dynamics change here when it comes to definition of done. So if I handle multiple projects or a portfolio not project management portfolio. If I manage a portfolio, I'm not sure as to how this thing can be constant, but it keeps varying with every project.
So from a I think, from an enterprise level and portfolio, I think it's easier to look. Now I'm asking you, I'm framing for the sake of this meetup, I've narrowed the focus down, right? To just like, how do I assess an agile team? Now, the next step is I'm going to start talking about application outside of agile and agile maturity, right? So I can go and I can look, like for instance, so from a portfolio management perspective, I can look at one program is in the I quadrant. The program sits in a portfolio. How is it interacting with stakeholders, customers? Like I'm at the bank, there are multiple lines of business, right? So those multiple lines of business live in the its quadrant. And then what governance, so compliance, risk is in the it quadrant, how they communicate, going back to Susie's point about budgeting, how do we communicate, what's the process in which we do quarterly reporting. Like I'm about to go into quarterly reporting kind of thing right now, because we're doing like a little bit of a safe-like thing. You think about it that way, and think about it in terms of when you ask a question, it's sort of like, where is the program weak? Where's the portfolio weak? How are we communicating well with our stakeholders and our lines of businesses? How are we speaking well with our customers? What's the channel in which we speak to these people? And so you could say safe is, if you're a safe practitioner, safe is clearly on the upper right.
Right.
And how is that being done well within the entire, that whole lens? Now, when you start talking about things outside of Agile, you can say a customer in the I, the customer lives in a particular segment, in a market segment. The market segment lives in a particular industry. And then there's governing principles, NPS scores, on and on and on. You can go hog wild with this, right? What if you're B2B? Well, then the I quadrant would be a company. Again, same thing. You begin to see what needs do they have in every quadrant? How do they conduct their business in every quadrant? So, like, it's more than just, to me, when I look at this, it's more than just theory. It begins to be this kind of Swiss Army knife that I can go and it becomes this like this. It reminds me of like those dragonfly eyes. It's like a little prism that I can look through, like a little eyepiece. And immediately when I look at it, it becomes like a kaleidoscope, where I see different perspectives of the same view.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yep.
Pretty cool, right?
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna skip. I know I have on here. So this is just to get you thinking. The key thing here is I'm gonna ask you all to I'm gonna summon everybody to me and just kind of follow me. I'll ask to be summoned and summon you. So the answer here is, the idea here is you bounce in the quadrants to find the right question. Goes back to Susie's thing. What is the problem you're trying to solve? But you can also say that that original problem that you're trying to solve has aspects in every one of those quadrants, and you can zoom in and out, remember? Because it's like a telescope. I can pull in and pull out and look at the world at different elevations, right? So the key is to ask, what's the key thing? And then if you'd like, I'm not going to ask for it. If like, I have 2 sections on the debrief, just like, if you want to put a sticky for yourself, like, what did you learn, and share with me so that I can have it for prosperity. And we're going to send this mural out, so you'll have that, so you won't, the questions that you like, you won't lose them, and the questions your friends wrote, you'll have those too. But essentially, it's, what's the right question? Because once you can address the right question, you can begin finding the right answer, right? That's Agile right there, right? It's like the whole goal of Agile is delivering value toward the right problem, right? And not just build things for building's sake. So now, oh, let me share my screen because I forgot to share a screen. I apologize. So now, like, so as an Agile coach, this goes back to Bobby, some of the stuff that I was kind of pointing at is sort of like, Well, there's the Agile maturity as an example, customer analysis. This is how I would do it. This is what I think about. Like, how might I look at it? If I'm doing a persona, if you're into design thinking and you want to do a persona, like, okay, at times I want to, maybe it's the customer, like an end user, somebody buying a cupcake might be in the I quadrant, and then maybe they have a family, you know, and why would the family be interested in the cupcake? What's the interaction there? So you begin to think that way. It could be executive. It could be the whole, like a B2B thing, like I said earlier. Leadership assessments. I can look at the leader. What do they think of it? So I can assess them on the individual level. And finally, interviewing. This is actually where I started figuring this out, is in the prospect of interviewing, both as an interviewee and as a candidate, as an interviewer and as a candidate. Because I want to ask, like, if you come in and I'm looking to hire a Scrum Master, I can bounce around in every question and see how you deal with it. And I can do it with any range of time. So if I have only 10 minutes, well, I'm going to ask one question every quadrant and see how well balanced you are. I'm trying to do pointed questions in every corner, right? Every quadrant. And if I have more time, then I'll cycle through until I find something and I can see how strong they are, right? And that's the same way I actually use this to assess myself. So I'll ask myself, what's my mindset? How do I deal? What are my personal issues? Like, what drives me wild, drives me nuts? Like, what skills, you know, what kind of personalities I have a hard time with? Or maybe, how do I want to develop? How do I do self-care? On the we part, I ask, like, how am I interacting with my family? How am I interacting with my team, my direct colleagues, my fellow Agile coaches and Scrum Masters? How am I interacting with the environment in the it's quadrant, right? In my team culture, like, how do I help my stakeholders do better? What skills can I gain there? And then on the skills techniques, like, do I need to train up on Lean and Agile? Do I need to improve my coaching skills? So, like, really, you can do a lot with this, and you can be imaginative and use it in any way you want. But it's up to you, and then to use this lens and think of that in that way. And I can't say I haven't run out of applications for this. And then it is like a muscle. Like, it's to the point now where when I go in and I do an interview for an Agile role, whether it's another coach or a Scrum Master, I'm getting used to this. Like, you would see, I don't have my notebook, but you could see, like, when I interview somebody, I actually draw the boxes. I put all 4 quadrants and I start writing questions in each one, what I'm going to ask. And I bounce around and I try to find where their weakness is, or where their strength is too. It goes both ways. So that's all I had, and happy to answer questions. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm the Agile Basis on Twitter. There's my LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. I'm doing more and more stuff with you know, giving talks like this, and I hope in general, you know, that you found the session, like, eye-opening. That's all I can hope for, and that you begin to think differently about the world and see the world in a different way, that it's more complete. And feel free to hit me up if you find your own, like, exciting application of this. Let me know. I want to know about it, you know, so we can share it, and, like, you know, I want to see what other people do with it. So any questions I can answer for anything? Any final questions?
We are going to move to a little bit of an activity and some breakout time, so we can get questions in there too.
Okay.
People a chance to do our stuff. So, guys, thank you for Huy for presenting rapid Agile assessments using Integral Quadrants, and we have about a half hour left, so we still have more time to do some deep dive discussions as you guys like. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen though, and for those of you who joined before, we tend to move on to a Trello board. We have lots of great stuff. So let me get you that share over here. So let me get that copy link here. And come join us on Trello. And in the first column, we have a download of the presentation that we did. So feel free to click that and download the link. I have the download for our small bites, what I did at the beginning, if you wanted to get a little overview of that. If you need the links to our Scrum Ventures toolbox, they're in here. You can get those also for Apple Store and Google Play. And if you want to get to our Kadomi programs, for those free downloads, they're in there. What I'm going to do, though, as you guys join, please join Trello. You're going to go to 4 breakout rooms, and you can go ahead and do our scavenger hunt. I won't show it too long. You're going to join a room randomly, work with your team, do that scavenger hunt. We'll give you 10 minutes to do that, and then we'll wrap up with about 15 minutes of just open discussion as a group. We'll do it that way for today. So I'm going to do some breakout rooms here, and at least if one of you has access to Trello, but it looks like many of you already joined. So awesome, great job. So let me go ahead and get the breakout rooms open. And I'm going to recreate 4 rooms. You're going to get automatically recreate options, breakout rooms, and you guys got 10 minutes. Okay, rooms are open. All right, I'm going to be part of room 4 because you guys looked a little light. Hey, Ray. Hey, Shalith.
Hello.
Evening.
Good to see you. All right, what do we got to do? I don't know, so I can do it with you as fresh. This is set up by someone on my team, so I haven't read it. All right, you guys in Trello?
Yep.
I'm having problems finding my account here.
Yeah, okay. Do you need the link again?
Oh, no, not the link, but my account is not working. I think I may have used a different. Yep, you can go ahead though. Yep.
Well, one of us can share. Shalise,
Okay.
you want to share your screen? You want to share your screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
There, should have share capability now.
I have 800 Chrome windows open. Which one has Trello?
Right. Let me know if you want me to do it. I can do it too. You want me to do it?
I got it. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord. You might want to. Apparently my Zoom is not set up for the screen sharing.
All right, I got it.
Open system preferences.
Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so you guys should see the Trello, right? I got the right screen shared. Okay. All right, scavenger hunt, team photo. So we all have to take a smile here. Since I'm sharing, can someone take the photo? Because if I'm sharing, they got little teeny tiny boxes here. Can you do a photo if we smile, Shalise? Can you just grab a screenshot?
Yep.
All right, I'm smiling.
Ray's got the default smile.
Uh-huh. Ooh,
All right, done.
Even makes a click noise. Love it. All right, yeah, if you can upload that to Trello, that'd be great. All right, next question. Name a person who has a tremendous impact on you as a leader. Anyone?
Huh.
We'll go with Mike Cohn, considering I have been referencing his stuff a lot lately.
Oh, that's a good one. I actually just I was his TA or trainer assistant just last week for
Nice.
Mike Cohn. It was awesome. It was awesome to be in his class. So I would concur. All right.
Is that in SoCal?
So Mike Cohn is actually based out of, he lives in Idaho now. But he's one of the premier leaders and one of the original members of Scrum, and he's amazing. Many people look up to him, and he loves to write. So if you follow him on his blogs, he puts a blog out every week. So I'm going to put Mike Cohn in the comments. Shalisa, are you going to add the photo? Can you drop it in there?
Oh, whoops, I added it to the time.
Oh, okay. All right, next question. How many books has Ken Wilbur written? First of all, I'm not familiar with who he is. Anyone?
Can we Google it? Of
course we can.
Oh, okay.
Got that right? Familiar.
That's the person who we learned about. That Huy Nguyen just.
Okay, I was so focused on trying to resolve Zoom and all these issues that
I know he wrote. Yeah, I know he wrote one book.
Okay, yeah, I
about
really.
quadrants.
Okay, all right, yeah, go Google it. Let me know.
Ken Wilbur. Okay.
Might need to go to Amazon if you can't find his website.
Oh wow, this is a lot of books.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I don't know if Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon might not have them all, but let's see what you can find.
Yeah, we have.
Wikipedia's got them, but of course they used an unordered list, so there's no numbers.
Nice. What's the ISBN on that?
Amazon shows 597, but some of these aren't his.
We'll go with about 40. I lost track. It was at 39 or 40. That was manual counting on Wikipedia's list.
Okay, I'm going with 40 books. Maybe by the time we finish this, I'll have his next one anyway. All right, next question I have. So let's check that one off. Find a teamwork quote meme and save as an attachment. Teamwork quote meme. Okay. I'm going to go to Google Images to do this. Teamwork quote. Oh yeah, I've used the Henry Ford one before. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, and actually working together is success. That's always a good one. Walt Disney's always good. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Well, these aren't really memes, I guess. They're images. I guess that, a meme should be more movement, right? This is one I actually reference in some things I've put together before. Together, everyone achieves more. Teamwork quote. Let's see if I can get a meme out of it.
The one we use frequently, which is more tongue-in-cheek than anything, is teamwork makes the dream work, because I work for a company called DreamHost.
Oh, sure.
And overusing the dream is always very funny.
Let's see. All right. Since I love animals, can we use this one?
Absolutely. My dog is sitting right here.
That's great. Okay, perfect. That's funny. Where do we go? Teamwork meme. Attach. Yeah, that's going to be our cover. Sorry. Going with it. Oh man, we got to write a haiku. We only have 38 seconds left. I can't write a haiku that fast. I've actually written a haiku about Agile before. You want to steal the one I did?
Yes.
Okay, look it up. Oh my God, I did it in my team development model. Scrum Adventures. Yeah, Hutch and I created it. Let's see if I can find it that fast. Team development model. Let's see. Did we do it in forming? I don't remember if we did it in forming, storming, norming, or performing. But where's my haiku? Here's my forming. Did I do it in here? No, didn't do it in the forming. Check storming. I'm not going to get it done in time. Storming. Nope, not storming. Darn, was it norming? Oh my gosh, no, we must have done it in performing. Thought we did it before then. Or I added it somewhere else. Yeah, that's it. With norms, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not right. That's not it either, because that's not my haiku. Okay, I can't find it. Yeah, we're leaving in a few seconds. Bye, guys.
See you there.
Take care. Thank you.
Who got a haiku done? Anybody get a haiku done?
Our team did. Our team was awesome.
We were just starting to work and I was going to steal one. I had one written from someone. I couldn't even find it. I'm like, oh, I'll just try to find it. I couldn't even find it. All right, did anybody get done?
Done.
Well, it looks like team 1 marked all 7 items off. Yeah? All right, let's go with team 1. Are you guys up for sharing? I'm going to put you guys on screen. All right, team 1. Team 1, walk us through. What do you got here? Team photo. Team photo. There it is.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you guys look awesome. Nice job. All right, we give them team photo. Name a person. Who wants to walk us through? Somebody on the team, walk us through.
Okay, I'll go with this one. So impact on us as a leader, I said Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt.
Awesome, thanks. How many books has Ken Wilbur written? Someone on the team.
I counted on Amazon. He did 26. I know he's a prolific writer. It's crazy.
Any other team have anything else?
I counted 41.
Wow, that's probably the right answer. I don't.
I counted 40 as well from Wikipedia.
Same.
Same.
Nice.
All right.
All right, awesome. All right, great. Next one. Find a teamwork quote meme and save as an attachment. Where's the attachment? I don't see a meme.
It's a link. You have to click on the link. I put it in the chat by accident.
Oh, you put it in the chat. I see. Okay, well, let's do that. Blow your mind. Beautiful. That works. Cool. Next one. Write a haiku. Oh, you put it right here. All right, go ahead. Share your haiku.
Agile works so well. Use it and your company will work superbly.
So you did 5. So you did 5, 5, 5.
Did 7.
It's syllables.
Yeah. Use it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Company. Oh yeah, it does. It works. 5, 7, 5. You got it. Well done. Very proud of you guys. All right, next one. And one positive thing that happened to you during the stay at home. More sleep.
More sleep.
Does everybody agree with that? Yes, no? I don't know. I see some no's.
Less commute time. That's, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah, no traffic.
Yeah, the more sleep. I don't know if that, I mean, I get more sleep, but sometimes I don't because it's not as good sleep because I'm not exercising and moving around as much as I used to. And I slept better when I was physically doing more movement. So I'm missing that.
I saved a lot of money on gas, that's for sure.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
And I have an electric car. I saved a lot of, I saved electricity though.
True. True.
Saved other people gas because you weren't on the road.
Ah, there
And
you
that's
go.
why.
You're right.
Mhm.
All right, last question. What topic would you like to learn more about at Scrum and Wine? Cool, go ahead and share. How did you come up with that one? Get more people to adopt Agile.
I'd like to share just how to get more people in organizations to adopt the methodology of Agile methodology, whether it's Scrum or Kanban.
Nice. All right, give it up for team one, guys. Nice job, guys. Thanks for doing. Thanks everybody for playing. All right, since we have about 10 minutes left, let's just do some open discussion. Whatever you guys want to chat about, you can put it here in chat or just shout out, use the raise hand feature. We's here if you want to dig deeper or you want to talk about anything on your mind. So we'll just keep it open. We're a small, intimate group at this time. What's on your minds? And I will stop recording at this time.